Dunearn House is one of the most hyped launches in Singapore right now, but there are two key concerns buyers who are familiar with the Bukit Timah area can't afford to ignore. Hi everyone, welcome back to another project analysis video. Today I'll be covering Dunearn House, which is situated in District 11 next to 6th Avenue MRT. So this address needs no introduction. So if you're a buyer looking in this area, you might already have some concerns about this project. So let's get right into it. This will be the agenda for today's video. We'll be going through key concerns for Dunearn House, namely, first one, leasehold amongst predominantly freehold projects in Bukit Timah. Number two, poor resale performance in this location for newer condos that are less than 5 years old. And the second part of the video will be about tough city transformation, who is Dunearn House suitable for, and the changing buyer demographics in that area. And lastly, we'll be going through the project information, covering unit mix, site plan, and some of the Showflat unit layouts. As usual, if you have any questions about this project and the content that I'll be covering today, you can always reach me at my WhatsApp. The first concern or feedback is that the newer condos in this area like Royal Green and 4th Avenue residences don't perform that well in the resale market, especially the smaller unit types. So let's take a look at the profits of these two comparable condos that are less than 5 years old. We'll be focusing on 4th Avenue residences over here, which is just next to 6th Avenue MRT, and Royal Green, which is a freehold project, also quite close to 6th Avenue MRT, and this is where Dunearn House is. So for 4th Avenue residences, it was launched back in January 2019, and it TOP in 2023 with 476 units. Whereas for Royal Green, it was launched around the same period of time as well later on in the year, in October 2019, and it TOP in 2021, and it features 285 units. Let's take a look at the profits for 4th Avenue residences, which was launched in 2019, doorstep to 6th Avenue MRT. So for the 1 to 2 bedroom unit types, we noticed that the average profits were less than 100K, and that was for an average holding period of 4 to 5 years. And there are even loss-making units ranging from as high as 60K over a period of 4 years. Now, if we take a look at the 3 to 4 bedrooms average profits, we can see that the 3-bedders are ranging from about 316K to 366K. And there were no loss-making units for the bigger unit types in this condominium. Similarly, for Royal Green, which is a freehold project, right? It was launched in 2019 as well. For the 2-bedder profits, we can see that it was about 73K over an average holding period of 4 years. And the 3 bedrooms saw a profit of about 179K. So these are actually quite decent profits, but still on the lower end for the Bukit Timah condos in that area. And if we take a look at the loss-making units, right, there were actually two-bedders that sold at a loss of 124K over a holding period of 4 years. And likewise for the 4-bedroom, lower losses, but there was one particular unit that sold at a loss of 66K. Now, if we put both data side by side, Royal Green, which is a freehold and near MRT condo, actually had units that performed worse than 4th Avenue residences, which is 99 years just next door. Therefore, the overall poor performance of these newer condos in the area, right, might have created this stigma that newer and smaller unit types here don't actually make good profits in the resale market. But let's dig deeper, right? What could have caused a poor resale performance? Going back to 2019 to ascertain the price gap between 4th Avenue residences, which was launched in the CCR, and new launches in the OCR at that time, we realized that there was a huge percentage price gap in the average launch prices between the two regions. For Treasure at Tampines, it was a launch back then in the OCR with close proximity to Simei MRT. It was a 99 years project and it was a mega launch, averaging 1,280 per square foot back then during the launch. And that was actually an 80% price difference from the CCR project, which is 4th Avenue residences, which averaged 2,400 per square foot. Similarly, in the OCR, in the Faber area, we have Park Clementes. It is a 99 years project as well, and it averaged 1,610 per square foot during the launch. And that is almost a 50% difference from the CCR project that was launched in 6th Avenue at that point of time. And if we take a look at the overall price trend for these 3 condos, in yellow, it will be 4th Avenue residences over here, which has consistently seen higher prices from 2019 to 2026. Compared to Park Clementes in blue and Treasure at Tampines in red. So this goes to show that actually some of the owners who had bought 4th Avenue residences back then in 2019 could have entered at a really high price, which resulted in difficulty exiting in the future. Fast forward to 2026, what is the projected price gap between Dunearn House and a recent OCR launch, Vela Bay, which is doorstep to Bayshore MRT? And it actually transacted at an average of 2,886 per square foot, with the higher floors hitting 3,300 per square foot. And to ascertain Dunearn House average launch prices, right, we would actually use the recent launch at River Valley, which is River Modern. And back then, the developers had bid for the land in February 2025 at 1,420 per square foot per plot ratio, which is about the same as Dunearn House land bid, which is at 1,410 per square foot per plot ratio. And given that River Modern actually had units that transacted at an average PSF of about 3,002, we are likely to use that projected average for Dunearn House as well at 3,002. So comparing 3,002 to the average transacted for an OCR project at 2,800 over per square foot, right, there was projected only a price gap of 11%. So if we were to compare the price gap between now and what we saw in 2019, this actually makes Dunearn House being in a CCR location seem undervalued in terms of price and location alone, especially with recent land bids in the CCR getting higher and higher. Furthermore, we also found that the land prices back then for this area in 2017, when All Green Properties had bid for both 4th Avenue residences and former Royal Vale, we can see that they had bid for land at a very high price at 1,540 per square foot per plot ratio, which is almost 9% higher than Dunearn House. And subsequently for Royal Green, right, the land bid was at 1,960 per square foot per plot ratio from the collective en bloc sale. And that was actually 39% higher than Dunearn House pricing for today, and we are currently in 2026. So you can imagine how high these land bids were back then in 2017. So concern number 2, is it safe to buy leasehold in a freehold area? So one common feedback is that many buyers feel that if Dunearn House averaging PSF is about 3,002 per square foot, isn't it more worthwhile to purchase a freehold property in this area? So to address this question, let's take a look at some of the attributes of freehold condominiums that are under 2,500 per square foot and within 1 km to 6th Avenue MRT. We will realize that for the freehold condos, right, most of them are boutique projects, 50 to 100 units, and some of these condos are at least 40 years old already. And these are the asking prices currently on the market. So you can see that they are averaging 2,000 per square foot for some of the older condos, like Dynasty Lounge, 5th Avenue, Condominium, Orchard Apartments, and 6th Avenue Centre. And the newer ones will be about 2001 now. So if we take a look at this as a whole, right, we'll realize that a lot of the condos in this area are actually smaller and older boutique condos when we compare it to Dunearn House, which is a 99-year leasehold project with big land size and a sizable number of units. So when it comes to comparing a big land size 99-year leasehold project, which is Dunearn House, to its freehold counterparts nearby, the freehold boutique condos will definitely be cheaper on a per square foot basis. But this is bearing in mind that some of these projects are really old, with aging infrastructure, limited landscaping, and facilities due to their smaller land size. And now if we compare Dunearn House to surrounding newer freehold projects with at least 100 units and a big land size for an apple-to-apple comparison, you'll realize that the story is very different. So the bigger and newer freehold projects are priced much higher than Dunearn House, and one of the most recent launch in that area that we can draw comparisons to will be Wharton House. So this is actually at Showflat Road. It is a very luxe project that is developed by UOL, and we can see some of the attributes will be that it is freehold, it has a large land size, 200,000 over square feet, and the plot ratio is at 1.4, and the total number of units are 180. So this is the sample site plan for this development. And if you were to look at the average prices that Wharton House has already transacted at, right, for the different unit types, you'll realize that the quantum is also much higher. So for the 3 bedrooms, they are about 900 to 1,500 square feet. It is easily averaging about 4.34 million. And the 4 bedrooms, which are 1,851 square feet, easily transacting at 6 million and above. And of course, for the bigger bedroom types, 5 bedrooms, 2,368 square foot, not including the penthouses there, are going for 8.67 million on average. And we can see that the overall per square foot for Wharton House is at 3,200 over per square foot, with the highest being 3,005. And this actually shows us that even though Wharton House has larger unit sizes, by right, the per square foot should be lower, right? But in this case, because of the freehold status and some of the very highly sought after attributes that this project has, the per square foot is on the higher side, which is already at 3,002. This means that if you are looking to compare Dunearn House to a freehold project on a per square foot basis, you would have to find a comparable that has similar attributes in terms of age and land size. And this is what is happening right now in the Bukit Timah area. So the pricing is actually quite different for a freehold newer project when you compare it to Dunearn House, which is a 99 years leasehold but newer project. At this point, I would like to share a real case study to determine the attributes that bigger 99-year leasehold projects have had that actually allowed them to perform well in the resale market, even though it is surrounded by many freehold projects. So comparing Duchess Crest versus Duchess Residences, which are two side-by-side projects near Tan Kah Kee MRT, we see that from 2007 to 2026, right, Duchess Crest actually outperformed Duchess Residences by 100% in the same time period. So Duchess Crest is the blue line over here, and the pink line would represent Duchess Residences. And naturally, for a freehold project, it will command a slight premium over the leasehold project. But you can see that it didn't do as well. It only appreciated about 6.85% from this period of time. And if we take a look at some of the Duchess Crest unique selling points that has allowed it to continue to perform well in the resale market, you'll realize that most of them actually had big land size of 300 over 1,000 square feet with full condo facilities. Over here, you can see that there's a tennis court, there's a swimming pool, and generally very nice landscaping if you have been to that condominium before. Take a look at the layout, right? It is very efficient and livable and of a good size, meaning to say like the 2 bedrooms there are at least 936 square feet. And because the 2 bedrooms there don't have a balcony, it actually makes the whole area fully livable with no wastage of space. And of course, it is within 10 minutes walk to Tan Kah Kee MRT. If we compare the 99-year leasehold entry prices at Duchess Crest, right, you can see that it is very much cheaper than Duchess Residences. First, for the 2 bedrooms there, ranging about 900 to about 1,000 square foot, the sale transacted prices have been about 1.73 to about 1.9 million. And for the 3 bedrooms at 1,300 square feet to 1,800 square feet, it is slightly under 2.5 million, transacting to about 3.4 million, which is quite affordable for a 3-bedroom in the Bukit Timah area. And for the 4 bedrooms, you can see that the size ranging from 1,700 square feet to 2,000 square feet, right? It is transacting at 3.25 to 3.7, still relatively affordable for this kind of size in Bukit Timah. While comparing this to Duchess Residences, right, the story is very different. If you look at the 3 bedrooms there, right, if you're looking at a bigger unit of about 1,005 square foot to about 1,006, the units there have already been transacting at easily 3.5 million and above to 3.7 and above. For the 4 bedrooms, likewise for 1,008 square feet to almost as big as 3,000 square feet, right, you will have to pay above 4 million to 5.5 million already in today's market. So this is just an example of the floor plans that I've picked out for Duchess Crest versus Duchess Residences. You can see that 3-bedroom layout, right, is quite regular in size, and you even have a walk-in wardrobe in the master bedroom. And it is generally very spacious and squarish. You have a proper yard in the kitchen layout, no balcony space other than if you were to get a ground floor unit. Whereas comparing to Duchess Residences, right, there is a narrow corridor here, and even though the common bedrooms are quite spacious, the layout doesn't fully utilize all the space in the house because there's a terrace over here and multiple terraces for the 4-bedroom types. There are 2 terraces, in fact. So how do we apply the learning points of this case study to Dunearn House? Being a 99-year leasehold project that has good land size, efficient layout, with lower entry prices and good views, is it safe to say that these strong fundamentals makes it a safer purchase, even though it is surrounded by a pool of freehold properties? Last but not the least, before I dive into who Dunearn House is suitable for, I want to talk about the Turf City transformation and the fact that it will take about 20 or 30 years before the full estate is built, because this will generally affect your exit strategy in the future. You can see over here for the Turf City transformation, there's really interesting government plans for this area. Most importantly, there will be 15,000 to 20,000 new homes, which is a mix of private residential and public housing in this area. And this will be a car-light district, prioritizing pedestrian networks, cycling paths, and immediate public transport connectivity, featuring the 10-minute neighborhood, where you will be able to access buses or MRTs within a 10 minutes walk, and you can also find amenities in the area. So this will be how Bukit Timah Turf City will look like in the future. So this is just an artist's impression with Dunearn House over here. Now, whether you're looking to buy for investment or own stay, it is important to be aware of the key milestones for the redevelopment of this area because it will be a long one and it will definitely affect your resale and exit strategy. So currently, where we're at right now in the late 2020s, there is already infrastructure and transportation works happening and there's road widening of 3 major roads in that area. And we're expecting Dunearn House to TOP around 2030, and that is also when the first batch of BTO flats will be launched in the area. Subsequently, in 2032, we can expect Turf City MRT to be completed. And after that, usually, after the MRT is completed, the government would complete building of the BTO flats in the area as well, and we're estimating it to be around 2033 to 2035. And when the whole estate is finally completed with full community amenities in the Turf City area, right, that will be in 2040, which is a good 20 to 30 years later. This means that you likely have to wait at least 10 years before the entire estate and amenities are fully operational at Turf City site if you were to buy Dunearn House today. However, this might not be a big concern as residents living in Bukit Timah already enjoy the amenities in the area like Serene Centre, Coronation Plaza, and even Dunearn Village. So if you're a buyer today looking to buy for own stay and you value being close to an MRT, and a condo with full facilities including a tennis court and multiple pools, and you actually don't mind waiting for at least another 10 years for the amenities at the Turf City site to be fully built, then Dunearn House might be suitable for you. And on the flip side, if you are looking to buy for investment, I would say the holding period will have to be slightly longer, perhaps at least 10 years if you're looking to maximize the full value of the property, as the amenities and the convenience in this area would have contributed meaningfully to the sale price by then. But of course, if you're looking for a quick flip, right, this project might not be most suitable for you because it really takes time for the full transformation value to be priced into the property in that area. And if you're looking to sell to the HDB upgraders in the area as well, it will take another at least 20 or 30 years before the BTO is fully built and when their MOP is up, before they can actually upgrade to your unit at Dunearn House. At this point, we have come to the last part of my video where I'll briefly analyze the project details for Dunearn House. Moving on to the unit mix for this development, it is quite interesting to see that the 2-bedders here actually make up a bulk of the units. So there are 46% of the overall 380 units that is being catered to the 2-bedroom to the 2-bedroom plus study, with sizes ranging from 500 to about 680 square foot. And 1/4 of the overall units are catered to the 3-bedroom and the 3-bedroom plus study unit type, which is slightly under 1,000 square feet. And of course, the more premium and bigger units take up about 29%. And these are the 4-bedroom to 4-bedroom plus study, ranging from 1,180 square foot to just slightly under 1,400 square foot. These are the views that you can expect at Dunearn House. So at the north view, you can see a lot of greenery currently right now at Bukit Timah, and the south view will be looking towards the GCB enclave. These are some of the key selling points for Dunearn House, which you can actually look forward to. The architects for Dunearn House have actually designed this project really well in a sense that there are 20 corner stacks out of 32 stacks, meaning to say 60% of the units will come naturally ventilated in the kitchen and the bathrooms, which is a plus point in today's new launch market because even if you are looking at a compact 3-bedroom, right, you still get to enjoy a naturally ventilated house. This is one of the key selling points, I would say, for Dunearn House in terms of its layout. It's super efficient and super livable despite its compact size. The only downside is that the 2-bedroom and the 2-bedroom premiums are actually the center stack, meaning to say you will not get windows in your kitchen and your common bath. But otherwise, the layout is still very efficient. Moving on to the layouts of Dunearn House, being a non-PPVC project, you can actually enjoy the flexibility of knocking down certain walls to customize your own space, which will be showcased at the Showflat. So for example, I'll be covering some of the Showflat types in this video. So for the 2-bedroom plus study, right, this is actually a flexible study space where you can knock down this wall to kind of expand your dining area to let it flow seamlessly with your living room as well. And it comes with an enclosed kitchen for the 2-bedroom plus study, which is not commonly seen in the neighbours like Royal Green. For the 3-bedroom plus study, you can see a similar concept as well. Some of the walls here can be knocked down to expand the entire bedroom space. And the study here is naturally ventilated with a window so that natural light can come in as well. So this study can be enclosed or combined with the master bedroom over here. So your door can be shifted forward. Similarly, the 4-bedroom premium plus study, which is one of the biggest unit types there, you can see that it features a walk-in wardrobe and spacious common bedrooms with a Jack and Jill concept here. And this study can actually be combined with your master bedroom as well. So you can even have like an additional wardrobe space here and shift your door outwards. Point of filming, the developers have actually just released more floor plans which I will flash shortly, because for the smaller unit types, actually they are still very compact, and I would recommend the 3 bedrooms for the compact size, meaning to say that the quantums will be kept affordable, and yet at the same time, right, the overall price of the unit will still make sense for HDB upgraders in the area in the future, because the layout is actually pretty similar to what they already have for a typical 4-room HDB flat. So these are some of the floor plans for the 3-bedroom compact layouts. This one is at 872 square foot. The 3-bedroom plus flexi is at 936 square foot over here. And the 3-bedroom plus study is 947 square foot for this one. Comes with the same study, and this is actually the Showflat unit type. And the slightly bigger one at 969 square foot. But of course, if you are looking for investment, right, the overall quantum would matter. And in this case, the 3-bedroom compact is more than sufficient for a livable layout in the future. In terms of exit strategy, if you have a specific holding period in mind and wonder when is the best time to sell for the unit type that you are looking at, please feel free to reach out so that I can give you tailored advice. Thank you so much for watching my take on Dunearn House, and I'll catch you in the next one.